that I am not only a lifetime member of CROE, but just to meet and to know these brothers and to have a relationship that's a regular relationship with them. I am forever grateful and thankful to Almighty God Allah. I thank Allah over and over again, not just for CROE. I thank Allah for everybody who helped me to develop in my life, brothers and sisters. So I'm grateful and thankful to Allah. This program, the Lance Shabazz program, the Lance Shabazz Show, which airs each week, is designed to remember, to reflect back on some of our glorious past, as we sometimes, I heard Brother Minister Lucius Bayah say once, that we're looking back for direction as we're looking forward with hope. Brothers and sisters, we have to sometimes, if you saw a model, if you saw how it was erected, you can sometimes, even with a puzzle, if you saw someone put it together and then they tore up the pieces and you had to put it back together, you know it's going to work because it was put together once. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a nation in the midst of his enemies. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, they say I shall fear no evil. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad lived that history, brothers and sisters. We were the ones who were persecuted. We were the ones that you read in the scriptures that said the tail will be the head. We were the people, when we accepted the teachings of Islam, some of us came to Islam bent over. We didn't know our name, didn't know our language, didn't know our culture. We were rendered dead, mentally dead, I should say, and didn't have any comprehension of what a civilized man should be. But all praises are due to Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would find us and he would pour the oil in our head and we begin to come up. Some of us who is lazy, some of us lazy, Lazarus, lazy are us. We begin to shake the dust and we begin to stand up. It says, arise and shake the dust, remove the napkin and come forth. We begin to come forth with this teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we didn't just sit on our hands. We went out and knocked on your door with the Muhammad Speaks. Tell you that Muhammad is speaking. After everybody else have spoken, now Muhammad is speaking. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the solution for the so-called American Negro. So brothers and sisters, this teachings is a teachings that will elevate you. This teachings is a teachings that will inspire you. You saw your children come home from the penitentiary. You saw your children that you used to pray on your hands. They said, Mama's on her knees praying. She's praying to God. Oh God, make these teachers do what they're supposed to do. Don't give them grades just to pass them through. We would pray to God that he would help us out. And God answered our prayer. He came, he heard our moaning and our groaning. He came in and he found and he searched, and one came forth whose name was Elijah. Elijah, they said before that great and dreadful day, that time that God would choose one, and that one would be Elijah. And Elijah would turn the hearts of the children back to their father. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was that one, brothers and sisters. He was the one that was able to turn us back to where we belong. Brothers and sisters, we became Christians. We became everything but what God wanted us to be. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said God told us that we were Muslims, and we didn't have to join Islam. We just had to accept it because we were Muslims by nature. So I'm grateful and thankful to Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, for his messenger, the most honorable Mr. Elijah Muhammad. I thank Allah, I thank Allah, I thank Allah.
Brother Lance Shabazz has asked me, Zeplin Muhammad Ali, to say a few words in reference to some of the great musicians of our times, in particular individuals like Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Sam Cooke. I personally think that Jackie Wilson is the greatest singer, performer of all times. This man had the ability to not only perform at the Apollo Theater, but he could also go to the Copacabana. So he had that type of versatility in his overall performance style. He had a lot of hit records as a result of his initial hits, Lonely Teardrops, That Is Why, To Be Loved, which were written by Berry Gordy. The money that Berry made by writing songs for Jackie Wilson, who was on Brunswick Records, it served as the impetus for him eventually starting what we now know to be Motown Records. So Jackie Wilson was very instrumental in transcending the music form that we know as soul music today. James Brown, who's another one of my personal favorites. I love James Brown music, not only because he was the architect of soul music, but he was also a socially conscious individual who, in my opinion, used the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in a way to help further the cause of black people as an entertainer. Out of the 5 radio stations that black people owned during the middle and late 60s, James Brown owned 3 of them. He also had Soul Platter food chains, and he did a lot of things. He had the Don't Be a Dropout campaign, which started in 1966, encouraging the young people to stay in school. So he was a great contributor, not only from a music standpoint, but from a social standpoint. Then you had other great worthies like Joe Tex, who's a personal favorite of Brother Lance Shabazz. Lance, who has been very instrumental in showing me a lot of film footage that I had never seen on Joe Tex, has caused me to have an even greater appreciation for Joe Tex, who was the songwriter for he wrote the song Fever that Lil Willie John made popular, and then Peggy Lee later made it popular all over again. So Joe Tex, great singer, great songwriter. I don't think he's made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at this point in time, but he's well deserving of it. So we're thankful to Allah there's such great entertainers, and there are many others like Sam Cooke and Sam and Dave, Solomon Burke, Wilson Pickett, Billy Ward and the Dominoes, Clyde McFadden, who's very influential in helping Jackie Wilson develop as a singer. People like Roy Hamilton, Big Joe Turner, and there's just a list of individuals, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, you name it. So black people, when you look at our history musically, we've been able to create the type of music that has withstood the test of time, and it has influenced generations of people throughout the world. So having said that, it was my honor, my pleasure to say a few words to Brother Lance Shabazz and his audience as it relates to music and those certain entertainers that I feel played a very important role in the progress of R&B music.
A wonderful time enjoying the history. And brothers and sisters, again, music is like second nature to me. I love music. I worked in the barbershop for many years. One of the barbers who worked alongside me for a period of time was the grandson of Miles Davis, Ali. And I met his father, Gregory, and we used to talk regularly about music. And he would tell me stories about Miles Davis. You heard Brother Zeplin Muhammad Ali mention Roy Hamilton. Roy Hamilton was one of Joe Tex's favorite artists, he said, was Roy Hamilton. And yes, I was blessed to cut Roy's Hamilton's son Tyrone's hair for many years. He was one of my customers for many years in the barbershop. And so music is all around us, brothers and sisters. We just love this history. So, brothers and sisters, so while in Chicago, I sat down with Brother Munir Muhammad on the Muhammad and Friends set. We did a series of interviews. And here's a portion of our interview on Muhammad and Friends with Brother Munir Muhammad.
But I want to take a different spin that we normally don't take. Now, it's a known secret you grew up in the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you're a historian. You like to think of yourself as that. I mean, what is it now? This is TV. It's silent. What that mean?
Well, when you say I'm a historian, I love history.
Yeah.
I definitely love history.
Okay. Well, so you are a historian.
Yes, sir.
I mean, look, you got to be a historian based on some of the things that I hear other people talking about. They don't have the facts that you do. If I start asking you about dates, you can tell me dates and times, and that means that you've studied these things, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, and it made an impact on my life, so I kind of bookmark it, try to recall it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well, let me say, as you're in town now, there's a play that's being shown at the Black Ensemble Theater called The Soul Clan. And I had some of these guys on recently, and they were just so thrilled with you and your extensive knowledge into Joe Tex, or what was Joe's Muslim name?
Yusuf Aziz.
Yusuf Aziz, and he died with that name, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
But Joe Tex was the infamous Joe Tex who, was a singer, entertainer, that sort of thing.
Joe Tex was one of the most underrated, I just think that people overlooked him. Mm-hmm. And he was very gifted. In 1955, he started on the King label, along with James Brown, actually. And he wrote songs. James Brown recorded his song, Baby You're Right, which became #2 on the R&B charts. And to me, he was just beautiful. And yes, I charted his life.
But 1955, you weren't even born.
I wasn't even born. I didn't know of Joe Tex till the late 60s. I had attended a Muslim bazaar in New York, and my father was